In this video, we are going to discuss the advancements in material medical. Since when in the history we know medicine, or people try to recall medicine? The first book that we can see today that recorded medicine is Zhou Li. Zhou, if you still remember the dynastic flow in the history of China, you will know that Zhou dynasty is about 3,000 years ago. This book is a literature book. It records the behavior or the etiquette of Zhou dynasty. It refers to the procedure or the behavior in that period, how people behave, what they're going to do. For instance, during marriage, during funerals, what they're going to do. So all these details were recorded in this book. This book also recorded some of medicinal substances. This is also the earliest books that we can see today have medicine. The second book is Shi Jing. In this book, it recorded about 50 medicinal substances. This book is also not a medical book. This is a poem. When we discuss the malaria in the first class, and I talk about Dr. Tu Youyou, I said Dr. Tu, from her name, she means to link to malaria because Youyou is the sounds when the deer eats sweet wormwood. And where does this come from? Where does this story come from? It's actually from Shi Jing. It says, 悠悠鹿鸣，食野之苹. So it describes that the deer, when the deer eats the sweet wormwood, the sounds is yo-yo. In this book, describe a lot of songs, poems, and this type of writing. At that time, they use many plants. So in this book, we know there were about 50 medicinal substances, especially plants. The next one, Sanhai Jing. This is also quite an interesting book in China. Even now, it describes, when we see the description, there are so many stuff that we don't even know what it describes. But basically, this is a book on geography. It describes the mountains, the geography, the land of China. In this book, it describes 126 different types of medicines, including 67 animal-derived substances, 52 of herbs, 3 types of mineral substance, and 1 type of water. So these were the initial contents of medicines, and these were not from medical books, but from all these books you can see the development of medicine is actually has extremely long history. And then when we move on to the monograph of medicine, the first book we need to mention is 神农本草经. When we introduce the classics, the 4 classics in Chinese medicine, we introduce 神农本草经. This is the first monograph on herbal medicine or material medical. You have 365 substances. The advancement of this book is the proposal of categories of 3 grades, upper, middle, and lower. And then it also comprehensively summarizes the theory of medicine. So when we introduce the classics works, we didn't introduce the details of the theory, the material medical theory. For instance, in this book, the author proposed that we need to distinguish the taste of herbal medicine, that's including sour, pungent, sweet, salty, and bitter. So these 5 different tastes also link to the 5 elements linked to our organs. This also, according to the taste, we also apply the treatments according to the taste. We also apply the function or try to understand the function of the herbs according to these tastes. That's the taste. You also have the properties. The properties refers to cold, warm, cool, or hot. So it separates it divides the herbal medicine into 4 different categories according to the nature of these medicinal substance, and also according to the properties of these substance. But how do we know the nature or the properties of these? Firstly, you can see from the appearance, the color of the substance. You also can try to taste. When you taste the herbs, you feel like bitter, and then the taste of this herbs is bitter. When you taste them, it's sweet. So there's a few theories that 神农本草经 propose how to define the nature and the property of medicine. Still in this book, the author, according to the nature and the properties of herbal medicine, it proposes that's how we understand the functions of this herbal medicine. That's also how we understand the new herbal medicine. For example, a new substance, how do you know the function of these? You can use these principles, these theories of materia medica to understand the new ingredients. This also, at the end of the history of Chinese medicine, I will propose that's how to analyze, how to understand African medicine according to this theory. These, I hope, will be something you guys will do in future to advance African medicine according to the theory of Chinese medicine theory, or the theory of Chinese materia medica. Use the nature, the property of in a theory to understand the local herbal medicine, to advance the local medicine, also to promote the use of local herbal medicine. So this type of thoughts were proposed in 神农本草经. So we're not going to discuss this in more detail because we have explained previously in the 4 classics. The next book we're going to mention is 本草经集注. 本草, whenever in this category we discuss the advancement in materia medica. Materia medica in Chinese is 本草. That's why in this session you see many books in names with 本草, B-E-N-C-A-O. When you see these refer to materia medica. 本草经集注. This is actually 本草经, 神农本草经, the previous book we introduced just now, and this is 本草经, still the same book, but it gathers other information. 注 means adding notes to the books, so he actually explained according to 神农本草经. So from this book, the author is Tao Hongjing. It's about 452 AD to 536 AD. This book has 3 volumes and 730 medicinal substances. Tao Hongjing, he was a Chinese medicine practitioner. He also Taoism, so believe in Taoism. That's why, if you still remember when I talked about Ge Hong, I says people who believe in Taoism, all what they try to do, they just try to promote health, they try to encourage longevity, because this school of theory, they don't want to die, they want to live forever. So these people, they actually try to refine medicine. That's why many new systems, new chemicals were discovered by these people. The contribution of Tao Hongjing, especially in this book, he proposed a new category of medicine. So as I mentioned, in 神农本草经, the author categorized the herbal medicine into 3 grades, upper, middle, and lower. But these 3 grades is actually quite broad or quite vague. It's still inconvenient when you look for those information, because the upper grade says you can use for maintaining health, but there's so many stuff that you can use for maintaining health. So it's still not ideal after hundreds of years, Tao Hongjing, he proposed the other methods to categorize medicine. He proposed to change the medicine into to categorize the medicine according to the nature of the ingredient. For example, he separated the herbal medicine into grasses and wood. He separated them into fruits, vegetable, rice, food, or worms, animals, and also minerals. So he separate he proposed 7 categories to divide the herbal medicine, to put them into different categories. This is a development from the initial categories until now. This book, the 730 medicinal substance, also developed from 神农本草经 365. So he adds almost doubled the substance, and he's a very rigorous scholar. When he adds on the new item, new substance to 神农本草经, he actually used different color of the writing, as you can see in the photo. The red color of the book refer to the existing information from 神农本草经. The darker one, the black one, were the new ones. So he actually tried to make it clear which ones were the newly added to the books, which one was the original ones. But unfortunately, because in the past, as I mentioned before, we don't have printing. When you copy books, we copy by hand. So after years, when this book was published or copied by others, they didn't check the color, so they were all mixed now. The next book we're going to mention is 千金一方. This book we also mentioned previously in the formula book. This is a comprehensive books compiled by Sun Simiao. Although this book is not a monograph on materia medica, this is a comprehensive medical books, comprehensive formula books. But in this book, in volume 1, he proposed 680 medicines. And volumes 2, 3, and 4 includes 853 medicinal systems. He proposed the combination of acupuncture and herbal medicine. Xinxiu Benchao, when the time goes to 659 AD, Xinxiu Benchao is a new development after almost 100 years now. It includes 844 medicinal substances, and this is the earliest pharmacopoeia published by the government, about 800 years earlier than the one in Europe. When you see the image, the one I show you, you can see the difference between this book and the other books before. Before all those books, they mostly have descriptions of the words, but this book, they have pictures. They tell you how to differentiate the herbs. They draw the picture to make you easier to understand, to recognize these books. Benchao Shi Yi, this is also a book in 739 AD, but unfortunately this book has been lost. It's about 110 more mineral systems compared to Xinxiu Benchao. We're going to introduce Benchao Gangmu later. This is one of the most significant works in the field of Mathematica and also all of the world. And 本草纲目 cited 368 substances from 本草拾遗 from this book. So although these books have been lost in the history, but we still can see some substance, some content from this book, from this book, but in the other book. 海藏本草 also this book also lost, was written in the 9th century. 124 mineral systems, 96 of them were from foreign countries. 海藏, 海 in Chinese means foreign. It is actually the direct meaning is actually the ocean or the sea. So this actually refers to 本草, still herbal medicine or Mathematica. 海藏 it means from foreign countries. So this book is actually focused on medicines from foreign countries, and this including the one from Middle East. Mostly the spices. And afterwards, 开宝本草 were compiled in 974 AD in 20 volumes, 983 mineral systems, including 139 new systems. 嘉佑本草, you see these, I mean the age, the days are quite close now. The reason is because after this time, after the Song Dynasty, the writing, the copying, the printing, it became easier because printing was created in China, invented in China in Song Dynasty. So afterwards, people know how to print, so make the provenance of books become easier. 嘉佑本草, you can see here, I'm just going to show you the development of the herbal medicine from the initial stage from 2000 years ago until now. You can see the accumulation of knowledge. 本草图经, 本草 still Mathematica, 图 is picture, 经 is book. So you can see from the image, the one I show you, this book focuses on the drawing. 20 volumes with 780 mineral systems, including 933 pictures, describing 635 medicinal systems. 正类本草 compiled in 1082 AD, 32 volumes, more than 60,000 words, with 1,558 medicinal systems. This book also have a lot of photos, descriptions, and this image also describe how to process herbal medicine. And after this book, there were also other monographs that we didn't mention here. Many other monographs on different topics. For instance, for herbal medicine, which herbs is better? Which is the authentic herb? In one species, under one species of the plants, they got different species, but under one category, which one was better? They have different discussion on this. They also discuss the function from the theory, why it works, what are the functions, and how does the nature, the property contribute to these functions. He also described how to process herbal medicine. Furthermore, it proposed the food therapy or dietary treatment therapy. So let's go to the next slide. 饮膳正要. So this book compiled in 1330 AD. 饮 diet, 饮膳 膳食 饮 and 膳 is actually these two refers to diet. This is also one of the earliest monograph on dietary medicine or using food as medicine. Basically, it says how to maintain your health from food instead of medicine, and also how to treat diseases from food. From this book, the author described Hu Sihui. He described many items, including normal food such as soup. You also have desserts. So medicine does not have to be bitter. It can be tasty. Even today, we still use many ingredients from this book, many recipes from this book. He also described that, for example, for female during pregnancy, how to eat, what type of foods they should eat, and what type of food they should avoid, also proposed in this book. Even today, when we look for dietary treatments, we sometimes also refer back to this book. Okay, 本草纲目. This is one of the most important mathematical books that we need to know. This book was written in the 16th century by Li Shizheng. Li Shizheng, he has many titles. He's a medical doctor. He's a Chinese medicine doctor. He's specialized in herbal medicine. He also specialized in pulse diagnosis. He wrote one book, 冰湖脉学. 冰湖 is another name for Li Shizheng. He wrote another book, 冰湖脉学. The description of the book of the pulse is the exact description that we are going to use in the diagnostic of Chinese medicine. He also write the descriptions of the pulse into poetry, so make it easier to be memorized. So he's a clinical practitioner, physician. He also focuses on diagnostics in pulse diagnosis. He was also a naturalist. He used 27 years from 1552 AD to 1578 AD to compile 52 volumes of 本草纲目. In this book, he comprehensively explained 1,892 medicinal substances with 374 newly documented additions. From these 1,892 systems, but where were the rest of the systems apart from the newly documented ones? The original ones were from 正类本草. This book, because it's so comprehensive, it's not only books on materia medica, it's actually a book it has been translated in many languages. It's important in the history. The book describes the geography where the plants grows and what type of geography, the geography characteristics of the land. It also including a lot of phytology, rootology, and minerals. He spent 27 years to compile these books, and he got 3 versions or 3 drafts before he published this book. So you also can see how rigorous these previous practitioners were. From 本草纲目, so from 神农本草经 we have 3 categories, and then when we go to 本草经集注 we got 7 categories to 7 grades. It's categories, we can't say grades because they separate according to the nature of the materia medica. And now from 3 to 7, and now he proposed to more categories into details, such as he changed to herbs, grains, fruits or vegetables, water, fire, etc. So you can see the categories of herbal medicine become more and more in detail. It makes it much easier to find the substance. It also can put the similar categories into one session. So this is also the advancement in classification. This book provides rich natural science content intensive materials on botany, rheology, mineralogy, and other natural sciences. That's why this book already have been translated into many foreign languages.《本草纲目拾遗》 This is another book after 李时珍。植物名识图考 This book also focuses on to verify the authentic of the medicine. This is in 19th century. 1,740 medicinal systems in more than 800 references. I mean, when we say references, means reference books. So this is actually more advanced and also more rigorous scientific way to explain herbal medicine. This is one of the herbal medicine. It describes the skin of the orange, the skin of the grapefruit. Grapefruit is similar to grapefruit is pomelan. This in these few years I can see in South Africa, but before I didn't see pomelan. So this is similar to grapefruit. Grapefruit, you describe how to make the skin and what are the functions, also with images. So when you see the images, when you compare, it's quite similar. You also have the images, describe the details and how to identify these. So basically, even from the name to, previously when we mentioned the name to, I mean means picture. So 植物 means plants. Min is the name of the plants, and then with picture. So we can, in this book, he focused on to verify the name of the plants and also the picture of the plants to make it easier for us to understand.《本草纲目》in this book, because it's so comprehensive, Li Shizhen also proposed the category to put the same category put the same species of the materia medica in the same section. For example, from one tree, if we use the roots of that tree, if also we use the bark, if you use the branches and the leaves of the same tree, he put all these in one section. So this is also different from the previous books. The previous books, sometimes they put according to the function. And some of these, there were many more other books on materia medica, And some of the books, they have different categories. For example, they propose what type of hormones and which herbal medicines can be used for edema, which herbal medicine can be used for skin problem. So from these mathematical books, it makes the clinical practice much easier because they have the reference. They actually, it's similar to a clinical menu. When you see the problem, edema, and then you can use these because these can reduce water retention. So all these information were in all the information was in the mathematical books. In the next session, we're going to discuss the developments of acupuncture and Moxibustion.